Okay, folks, this is going to be a really, really short starting soon screen. So we're going to go ahead and start this right now because we're ready to talk some bowls. And I hope you are too. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go. Okay. Whew. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Sandwich Corner. Good to have you back. It's a subset of the Sandwich Show and the former Dick Cow Show, of course, as well. I am Dave Medina. You also know me as Dave B's eating a sandwich on many socials. Though right now I'm currently off Threads for reasons I won't get into in the podcast right now. But go to Instagram, you'll see what the reasons are. Anyway, we're going to talk about football. We have the bowl schedule ready to go. We have our bowl mania ready to go. John's been so kind to invite a number of us from our sports community to the bowls. I'm really let's get into this. So, I'm gonna bring in our good friend from the show. Let me just make sure. Right, I gotta push this thing. It should be fine. Okay, I think I got it. So now, folks, let me introduce you our good friend, bringing us back. I'm sorry for being so gone from the podcast for so long. Like it's been months. I'm so sorry. But John, welcome back. How's it going tonight? Let's see, I have this here. I'm not sure. Oh shoot, is John muted or did I just select the wrong thing?
I'm not muted.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
I had some reverb though.
Hold on. Fixing. There.
Maybe now?
Yeah, you should be good now. Okay, so
Okay, yep. Perfect. Yeah.
yeah.
So I was saying, yeah, we haven't had a show in a while, but glad to be back, Dave, and at the perfect time too, because we certainly love Bowl Mania, some interesting matchups, some not so interesting matchups. Obviously, the whole controversy with the playoff selection committee and their decision with Alabama over Florida State. So a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, and glad to be back.
Glad to have you back, John. I'm really glad to see you. Andy wanted to come in, but work schedule was such as it was, so no worries there, Andy. Hope everything's well on your end. But any of you tuning in, glad to have you here. Thank you for joining us, everybody. And then, of course, we are glad to have you check out the podcast on our podcast feed after the fact. Anyway, getting to the business. That's the first thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about the playoff selection. There's a lot of controversy over it. So the gist of it is Bama essentially gets in over Florida State, who had an undefeated season in a Power 5 conference. And yes, I realize that they're down without their best quarterback, but they did win all the games, and they even beat some tough teams along the way, like Louisville. I mean, did you agree with the decision to put Bama in over Florida State?
It all comes down to the whole best team versus most deserving team. So while yeah, Bama probably would beat Florida State if they played tomorrow, Florida State was the more deserving team based on what they've done all year. It'd be like saying, you know, a week before the NFL playoffs, Patrick Mahomes breaks his leg. Like, are you going to keep the Chiefs out of the playoffs? Like, no, like they earned their spot into the playoffs. So it kind of rendered the entire season meaningless for Florida State. Like, why did they even play all the games? Like, you know, it was just I don't know. I disagreed with Bama being in, and like I said, Bama would probably beat them tomorrow. But it's not like you can't project going forward. Like they talk about, oh well, they would have been a 14-point favorite or something. Well, like wasn't Oregon a 10-point favorite over Washington? And like upsets happen all the time. It's not based on projection moving forward. It's based on what you've done and if you earned your spot. So I disagreed with the selection. I think it really came down to, they wanted to have the SEC in the mix, despite what anybody says. I mean, that's what it really came down to. And the fact that Texas had that trump card over Alabama, once they had to put Texas in, they had to drag in Alabama along with them. So I think that's kind of what it came down to. And Florida State was like, it's the collateral damage in this situation. Because I think if Georgia had won, obviously Georgia's in, Washington's in, Michigan is in, and then I think at that point, they might have put Texas in. I don't know. Texas versus Florida State is a much tougher decision than Texas versus Bama. But once you brought Bama in, you had to bring Texas in too. So, um, it just I disagreed with the selection just based on what I just said. The
Yeah.
games have to mean something at the end of the day, and like you have to play the season for a reason. So this is going to have some long term consequences for the ACC, in my opinion, because Florida State's looking to get out of there as fast as they can. You go undefeated in a conference, a supposedly quote Power Five conference, and you can't even make the playoff. Now, granted, expansion to 12 teams, they're going to be in, but still, this is just going to expedite them and Clemson and some other teams to leave the ACC, and that's going to blow up very sooner than people might have thought. So, yeah, I thought it was the wrong decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, but what's really interesting about this topic is that a lot of people have disagreed with that take, and I'm honestly really surprised. Like even people we know have been on the other side of this argument, thinking, well, who's the best teams? I mean, fine, but I honestly, your other point where about what's the point of the season if you're not going to award teams who did the best this over the year the playoff spots. That's exactly my take on it. Like if you're just going to just say, well, who do you think are the best teams? Oh, then why are we playing? Why are we even playing? If you're just you may as well just look at the recruiting rankings and just base the playoff based on that. It's
exactly Vegas lines and recruiting rankings. Like, and if it's the quote best teams, then why isn't Georgia in? I think we could all agree Georgia probably could beat any of the four teams that are in. So if it's the best teams, then why isn't Georgia in? And like so if they think Florida State is they're so bad and whatever without Jordan Travis, yet they have them ranked a spot ahead of Georgia. It's such a sham. It's like
yeah.
it's turned into like a beauty contest or figure skating basically. Like whatever. It's just all backroom politicking, and I don't know. I'm glad it's going to 12 teams, so we're not going to have this issue again. We're like an undefeated it's power four now champ is left out, but you're going to have the same kind of arguments for like the last few teams where it's like, the Big Ten and SEC are clearly going to get like 8 of the spots, and then the ACC, Big 12 are going to be fighting for like maybe 1 to 2 spots each, and then you have your token group of 5 team. Although it was completely ridiculous, and I know we'll get to the matchups, how they use the logic for Bama versus Florida State, the best team. And then when it came down to the group of 5 team for the bowl, it came down to SMU versus Liberty. It was, Liberty, they beat everybody on their schedule. It doesn't matter who they played. When they were 11-0 or 12-0 and had literally the worst schedule in the country. We talked about this on the preview show, Dave, how they didn't play any Power 5s,
Mm-hmm.
and they ran through the schedule. Yet, SMU is clearly the better team based on their schedule and the metrics and everything, but yet they gave that spot to Liberty. So they just move the goalposts and change the argument for whatever works for them.
Exactly. And I think we now have reached a situation where college football is the last sport remaining, pro or college, that really doesn't base the results of who wins the championships and who wins the conferences based on how you play on the field. Literally no other sport does that. College basketball, it's all settled on the court. Because even if you think someone gets snubbed, you have 68 teams, or what maybe it's even more than that now. And so you're going to have a chance, no matter, even if you feel like you slip somewhere. This is the only sport where you can have people what was it I wrote? I wrote something on somewhere on Discord that like basically where the results can be decided by they're decided by like, I'm trying to remember what the phrase I used was, but basically you don't decide it on the court. You're decided by
right.
And it's just like, it's ridiculous. Like I just can't believe that we continue to have this year after year. And yes, 12 will probably resolve most of these issues. But as you mentioned, like the long-term implications of what conference expansion is going to be is what really disappoints me about all this. And I think it just takes so much fun out of the sport. Like when you know that, they're just going to put in Bama anyway. Like, well, then what are we going on about? I don't even think Bama's that good.
It's just, no. And like, they're clearly the best team. Like, did they watch the game the week before when they needed a 4th and 30 miracle to beat a very, very average Auburn team that got
Yep.
beat by New Mexico State by 3 touchdowns the week before. Like, where does this factor into their calculations? Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, oh yeah, they're clearly the superior team. Like, okay, Florida State's offense definitely would be limited. At number one, they wouldn't have been playing with their third string quarterback because that was just a one-time situation. Rodemaker would have been back, and their defense is clearly one of the best in the country. Like, they have NFL athletes all over the field, so it was just a joke of a decision. There was another point I was going to make, and I lost it for a second. But in regards to the for the just the playoff in general, you mentioned about other sports. The division right below the FBS gets it right. The FCS, the playoffs are great. I don't know if you've caught any of the games, Dave, but it's fantastic. Like, it's how it should be. Like, every conference gets their champion in, and then there's at-large bids. It's just like the basketball tournament, and that's really how it should be. So the playoff really should be the 10 conference winners, and then maybe, I don't know, 6 at-larges might be too little. Do 14 at-larges. Have 24 teams. I mean, the whole idea of these, like, oh, we can't take time out for like these students because they're student athletes. That's such bullshit now too. So
Yeah, definitely.
might as well do the FCS model. Get your 10 conference champions and have like 14 at larges, and let's have a big playoff like starting the first week of December, and it would go to middle of January, and it would be a great thing. But no, we have to have this subjective nonsense still in the mix. I don't know if you saw Mike Leach, rest in peace. He had a great rant. It's on the internet about like the committee, and he like predicted this exact situation that would happen. It's fantastic. You have to look it up.
That's pretty awesome, and I believe it too. I mean, we know Mike Leach has always said it like has told it like it is, and we miss him. Like, it's definitely a different world without him kind of cutting through the crap, and it's always great to have that. It has always been great to have that. But yeah, he's right in the end, isn't he? So here's the thing. I really do think that Florida State could have beaten one of these teams in the playoff. That defense was playing really well towards the end of the season.
Did you see Michigan's offense in the Big Ten title game? Like, they weren't doing much of anything. Like, I know Iowa is kind of a different beast, but still, like, without turnovers and special teams, plays, like, Michigan was doing nothing in that game, and they really haven't done much of anything in the last month or so. So yeah, they would have been competitive, without a doubt.
I'm with you. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, definitely I would have taken the points with Florida State versus any of those teams. I just think it almost, for me, whenever I see a team battle through things like that, it almost makes me think that's a really good mark on the character of that coach. So Norvell's done a really good job this year, and the players who play on that team. And the thing is like, the whole team is not Jordan Travis. Like, it's a good team. I mean, there's a reason why both of us predicted them. I don't know if you predicted them to go to the playoff, but I did, and I certainly loved them going in. And it's just, I think there's that.
If he's so important to the team, like, why didn't he win the Heisman Trophy? Like, if he's like the only person on the team that could have carried them to the playoffs, like, again, it's just the twisted logic that they have to use in order to justify the decision.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's such a pain dealing with this all the time. Like, I almost felt like the BCS was better. I think Ron even made that point a while ago. Like, it was better with 2 because you didn't have this nonsense. Like, it was a little more definitive. And
bring back the computers, absolutely. Like, this year, it would have been just Michigan and Washington, right? Those are the only 2 undefeateds. Easy, done.
There you go. Well, there could have been some controversy because Florida State was left out, but at least you can say, well, Washington was undefeated too. But
yeah, sorry, yeah, I just completely forgot about them. But yeah, based on the rankings, it would have been them 2, and then there would have been an argument with Florida State for sure. So yeah, one team would have been kind of hosed, but I think it would have been I know that some voting kind of went into this too, into the old BCS. I know they had the computer rankings, and then there was like some voting, so that could have been maybe manipulated, but it definitely wasn't as blatantly of a sham as like this committee, which is just grace.
And that's the most annoying thing about it. It makes me furious because it really amounts to the idea that you have to have an SEC team in the conference in the playoff. No, you don't. This was
Right.
the most disappointing Power 5 conference by far this year. This was the
Yeah,
year.
not dominant as previous years. You're 100% right. Like, what's their big out of conference win? Like, can you name it? I can't.
Yeah.
Not at all. Off
I
the top
mean,
of my head, Kentucky beat Louisville, and the Florida State just beat Louisville. So I don't know. I can't think of any other big non-conference wins besides that.
yeah, it's just hard for me to wrap my head around it. I know teams can improve, but when you see a team that was like scored maybe I think it was a total of 3 points in the first half against US at South Florida, and
I
they
was just
bent.
gonna say that a team that was 3-3 against South Florida at halftime, put them
Oh,
in the playoff.
just you can't make it up. You can't make it up. So we're gonna get to the college playoffs in a little bit, and we do have the consolation bowl between Georgia and Florida State coming up too. I think
Oh man, yeah.
that'll be a fun one to analyze. So we'll get to that later. Heisman really quickly. I don't normally bring up the Heisman during these previews, but it was a very wide open field. It seemed like this year a little bit closer of a decision than one might have expected. I definitely thought Jaden Daniels was the one that was going to win. That would have been my pick. He was great. Like I was all about it. But did you feel like this was a closer race than most years?
Yeah, because usually it's the star player or the quarterback of the team like that's about to win the national championship or a playoff team. And clearly, we knew a month ago that LSU wasn't, going to be making the playoff. But his statistics and just performance in general was just overwhelmingly, um, higher than everybody else. I mean, like that one game, he had like 250 yards rushing and 300 something yards passing. Just unbelievable individual performance. So that was tough for a lot of these other contenders to overcome. And I know, Nix and Penix, they had great seasons too, but the stats that Jaden Daniels put up, I mean, you just could not argue against those.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him. I'm glad it worked out. I'm hoping it translates to the NFL later. I don't know if he's coming back for another year. I would assume yeah, but whenever.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything yet. I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
But they need a defense. If they had a defense, they would have been, right there. I mean, one of the worst defenses in the country. To go along with that offense. I mean, they would have been, next year get them a defense, and LSU will be right there. With Brian Kelly and his family.
Yeah. Interesting question. We're talking about defense. Like USC's season completely fell apart. Like even more than you could have possibly imagined. Actually, if you really look back at it, like losing to UCLA, losing to Washington and giving up like 50 points. Like, did that defense cost Caleb Williams a Heisman, or did Caleb Williams cost himself the Heisman? Because he did look pretty feeble in some of those games, like with the one against Arizona, for example, and there's another like. So, I mean, that's an interesting angle because I think if it were not USC and if they didn't just come off of a decent season and if Caleb didn't already win the Heisman, it's a question of would somebody like Lincoln Riley make it the next year? Like, it was that bad a year. But just going back to the Heisman question, like, do you think that the defense undermined Caleb's ability to win a Heisman alone?
I think a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think so too.
A little bit of both because early in the year when USC was winning, clearly he was like overcoming their defense, and then his play kind of slipped. But the defense was still just as bad, so he couldn't make up for it. And then I don't want to say they stopped trying because that's unfair, but I think it was kind of a realization like, oh shit, like we're not really going anywhere, and it just the play just dropped, and there wasn't that kind of intensity from the team that you might expect, especially like you mentioned, like the UCLA game was just brutal. Now, granted, the Bruins have a good defense, but still, that was pretty bad. So I think a combination of both, and the defense just kind of wore out on them by the end of the year. I think that's kind of what ended up happening. So who's their new defensive coordinator? Did they bring somebody in? I know they fired the guy there. I forget his name off the top of my head.
Alex Grinch.
Yeah, that's right. They fired Grinch after one of those games. They were like, see ya, you're gone. Who did they bring in? I feel like I saw that somewhere, and I don't remember it.
I'll check on that.
All right.
DC.
Yeah, USC defensive coordinator.
And we have let's see. And by the way, while we're in this same market, do you think Chip Kelly's going to make it to next year?
I think so. I think they would have fired him already if they were gone because the way the system is set up now with like the portal and like recruiting, like signing day is like in a week, the initial signing day. So I feel like they would have gotten rid of him already if they were going to fire him, which I think would be kind of a mistake. You're heading into a new conference. You're heading into the Big
I
Ten.
agree.
Like I know he kind of struggled this year getting their offense together. I mean, he played three quarterbacks. Um, and Dante Moore did transfer. So that definitely goes against him.
Yeah.
But I think it would be the defense was just unbelievable. Oh no, you know what? I think
I
didn't USC steal
They stole the
UCLA's
DC.
defensive
That,
coordinator?
yes, Danton
Yep.
Lynn. So I'm
Yes,
reading
that's it.
here. They took the defensive coordinator from UCLA. I mean, that's as good a hire as you can get on paper. Like, that's
Oh,
pretty impressive.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That was a good job. Yeah, obviously they offered him more money because there's no way, you're going from UCLA to USC. Like you're not moving. You're not moving your family or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're going to the same conference. So yeah, they clearly offered him more money, more control. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great hire because UCLA's defense was not good last year, and then he comes in from the NFL and just completely just turn them into a juggernaut. Really, I mean, they had one of the best defenses in the Pac-12, and you do not usually say that about UCLA. So yeah, terrific hire
Yeah.
by USC.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're getting all this Pac-12 stuff in because this is it. Like, did you feel the finale of that? Like, the last game was Cal versus.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was eerie. Like you're sitting there watching this great game between Washington and Oregon, and you're thinking like, this is really going away. Like, what are we doing here? Like, it was just surreal. I don't know. I feel like eventually, when these conferences, like the Big Ten, will get up to like 20 teams or something, and they're gonna have like then the Western teams will split into their own division, and it'll essentially be like the Pac-12 again. But obviously without the Pac-12 name. So it's definitely sad. Like this did not have to happen. Like the Pac-12 did not have to die. The ACC does not have to die, even though it very likely will, or it'll significantly lose its high standard, if you want to call it, or high ranking, if you want to call it that. It'll be severely watered down. But like this doesn't have to happen. Like it's all money and like greedy, TV execs that are like pulling these strings, and that's kind of what makes it really sad. Is all this realignment stuff. But yeah, it's just no more Pac-12 after dark. It's now going to be Big Ten after dark. Because you got to have some Western teams play. The 10-30 slots. So that's kind of what they, their TV partners picked up with the deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had you just look back all the memories, all the rivalries, and it's not just like UCLA, USC, and it's also Cal, Stanford, it's also Oregon State, it's also Cal, UCLA, it's also Oregon, USC. Like they all had great little, like smaller rivalries with one another. It was a fun time. Like Oregon State, USC was a great rivalry too, because like Oregon State had some upsets back in the day against Carroll's teams. So like it's just like.
Yeah, and then the two questions I'm wondering is the Pac-2 still exists, so like are they their own? They're their own conference next year, so do they get like an automatic spot into the playoff? Like I don't know. I know they have
get
like
an automatic spot.
It would be pretty smart. It'd be pretty smart of them if they stayed together just for that reason. Like I know they just did a scheduling alliance with the Mountain West so they can fill their schedule. So it would be pretty funny if like Oregon State or Washington State, like they just roll out the red carpet for one of them to get in. And then the most asinine thing of this all is Cal, Stanford, and SMU going to the ACC. Like, what are we doing? Like, just I don't know. I can't even explain how dumb that is. I mean, just I get it. Like, you don't want to be on the sinking ship, but at the same time, like, why is Cal going to be playing NC State? Why? Boston College SMU is now a conference game. Like, why? What are we doing? It's just the funny thing is like SMU literally is so rich from like all those oil donors that they're taking zero TV money, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to have a seat at the table, and honestly, it's smart. Like, just get in any means necessary. Like, I'm a fan of my team, UConn. We're stuck on the outside looking in. Like, there's rumors about us going to the Big 12 in the summer, and that kind of blew up once all this stuff happened with Pac-12. I would love them to make that deal. Just get in, like have a seat at the table. But they're so loaded with money, and they have a really good team. Like they could come into the ACC next year and like be in the top, 3 or 4 teams. So smart move, honestly, for SMU. But Cal and Stanford makes no sense to me. Them joining that league. But hey, it'll be interesting to see them create some new rivalries. That classic Louisville Stanford matchup that we're all waiting to see.
Oh, geez. Well, they got the same card. I mean, the Cardinal versus the Cardinals, I guess,
Yeah,
would be
exactly.
clever
The
enough.
Cardinal rivalry. That's why I mentioned it.
That's actually pretty clever. I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Um, I remember when I started this podcast, we're closing. This is the 15th anniversary of the podcast. Actually, this month. Did you know that? Like, just kind of snuck up on me too. Like, I didn't even realize that.
That is crazy.
That is crazy. Wow, 15 years of the Didcow.
15 years of nonsense and
for sure. I kind of don't, I'm just reflecting on it like earlier in the week. I'm like, I haven't done this. We hadn't done this in a while, but I was like, I don't want to stop. Like, I still want to get into all the nonsense with like this and golf, and got to bring Junkie back and baseball. And like, there's going to be still a lot of stuff we can get into, So this is, I don't feel
I mean, like we bitch and whatever about, but we're going to all watch college football still. I mean, that's the thing. Like just like the NFL, like it could be so bad, like you're still going to watch. Like tomorrow night's game is like literally one of the worst games you could ever imagine, with the Raiders and the Chargers, with Easton Stick playing for the Chargers, and Aiden O'Connell or possibly Brian Hoyer again for the Raiders. But yet we're going to be tuning into Amazon betting the under 34.5.
Oh my
that's
goodness.
what the NFL does, because we'll be there.
Are you on the Tommy DeVito? Are you catching Tommy DeVito feeder? I mean, Tommy DeVito.
Oh my god! Don't even.
That's a bad timing for that. I'm sorry for the timing of that question. That's bad timing. I'm sorry.
Tommy Cutlets. It's fun. No, like, you know what? I give him credit for like capitalizing on the moment for himself and his family and whatever. So kudos. But what are the Packers doing? Like, Joe Barry, get the fuck out. They need a field goal. You're playing your defensive backs 10 yards back. If you don't allow them a first down, you win the game. Like, what are you doing? Why are you in a prevent defense with a minute left up by 1 point? I don't understand. Who cares if he beats you deep? You're gonna lose anyway. Maybe they score a touchdown, you get the ball back. Oh, I was so angry.
It was a wild night. Like, it completely came out of nowhere.
I mean, granted, the Packers really didn't deserve to win because they just played really sloppy. Jordan Love had a rough first half. I was glad to see like he kind of overcame that and played really well in the second half. So, kind of like how he has been playing. But it just overall, just a really just shitty game.
Yeah, I hear that.
But hey, they're still the number 7 seed right now in the NFC. So they win a couple. They have Tampa Bay and Carolina the next 2. So win those 2.
Yeah.
And the Packers are still going to be right there.
I mean, the net result of the last 2 months is really positive still for the Packers after the loss.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, Jordan Love he completely just like turned a corner in my opinion. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be Aaron Rodgers good, but he clearly is competent enough to be an NFL quarterback. And if you put good players around him, I think they have a future. So very, very pleased about that. And they're so young too. So they're the whole offense in general. So no complaints with that.
Yep.
But Joe Barry, they can leave him in where I do not want to see this guy again coordinating the defense next season. So if Matt LaFleur doesn't want to fire him, then he can go too, because this guy, it's constant, the same thing over and over again with this soft prevent bullshit, especially at the end of the game when you need to stop a team. Like, send a blitz. Like, what's going to happen? Like, come on, it's Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. It's kind of interesting that these happened at the same time. You had the Tennessee game, and that meltdown was incredible. Like, I don't think honestly,
I barely saw it because of what was going on with the Green Bay game.
We're all watching the Green Bay game, and we're like, barely anybody saw the meltdown because like you just saw the score, like they're up by 14. Oh, okay, that's over.
Right.
And then you go back.
So they have to rethink that strategy. Like, I'm fine with the 2 games on Monday night. I love it, but do one at 7 and then do another one at 8:30.
Yeah.
Like, so you can have one game end and you could focus on that, and then you move over to the second half of the other one. So I get it. Like, you don't want to do, they used to have the Monday doubleheader the first week where you have the game at 7, and then sometimes they'd have Chris Berman on for like the 10:30 game. Or they'd have like the worst announcers ever for that second game. So
Yeah.
I get it. You don't want to do it that late, just for the East Coast people and whatnot, for ratings and the whole thing. But definitely stagger them. And I think they did that earlier in the year when they had the double headers. They did
Hmm.
one at like 7 and then 8:30. That makes more sense. Like, don't start them at the same time. Like, we have red zone on Sunday. We don't need it on Monday night too. It just
That's fair.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, college football kind of is pretty keen about that. They did do a little bit of staggering in the prime time window, and
Yeah.
obviously college basketball has mastered that from the beginning. Like they're really good at that. So that's a learning moment for the NFL because like two really good games, but like we were so distracted by one of them we couldn't get to the other one,
Yeah.
and it's rather interesting stuff. Dolphins losing that game is rough though. Like they you cannot lose that game. Like that's I don't know what to say. Like this is what
Yeah, and
happens.
they were like gifted a bunch of touchdowns too, just from
Yeah,
what I was seeing, like on turnovers and whatnot. It's like
yeah.
when you have that, you cannot blow that game, and that just like kills their chances. They were in good position for like the number one seed, and now
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know if I see it happening for them now.
Yeah, you're right. Because like when I saw the block punt,
Yeah.
like right by the 2 yard line, like you're like,
Yep.
that's a game you have to win. You have to win that. When you block a
And
punt,
defensive touchdown too.
yep.
By, the lineman. So
Yeah, like that's. I don't know what you. I don't even know. I think this just. Sometimes it really is as simple as they underestimated the other team. I don't think there's much more to it than that. There's no real analysis there. Like they're clearly better. I mean,
yeah,
they were up by 14 points, so the spread was accurate, and it's just interesting how that came apart. So let's get back to college. I didn't mean to go off topic for so long, but
no, it's fine. I had to get my rant in sooner or later. So
I was inevitable, I guess. But the NFL's really starting to get interesting. I mean, I
oh my
can't.
God, the playoff races are crazy.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a crazy last month.
yeah. I give it up to Buffalo for like kind of getting themselves off the mat here. I do think the schedule sets up really well for them. I totally think they can beat the Cowboys this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Dallas, they're feeling themselves after that Eagles game.
Yeah.
Buffalo seems like a play for that game.
I love it. I love it. So more on that coming up in a little bit later, maybe in the next episode, but certainly in a little bit. So let's get to Bowl Mania. Thank you very much for setting up the contest yet again. I do have a very unusual strategy this year that I don't want to tell you the exact strategy.
Yeah, don't give out your entire strategy.
Right.
What's like a glimpse of it that you're kind of
Yeah.
thinking.
So, well, you'll get the idea after like a day or two anyway. So like you'll get
Okay.
So well, but at any rate, we do have a lot of really great games. We usually do the games we love and games we don't want to see in our backyard. We could probably just run through each of these days and like just see what's good in each of these blocks. So why don't we start with Saturday? I'm gonna go see if I can put this on screen for the people on YouTube. Let's see.
Even better. I was gonna pull up the schedule, but that you're gonna have it on the screen, even better.
Yeah, I might have to zoom in on it though. So let me go see what I can do. Give me a second here. So like folks that are on YouTube see a blank screen, but I'm working on it.
If any of Dave's listeners want to get in the Bowl Mania scenario, it's $25. You pick every game and then rank them based on how confident you are. So your most confident pick would be worth 43 points, and your least confident pick would be 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get those points if you get the game right, and then the most points at the end of the bowl season are winner. So if you want to get in, reach out to Dave. You can connect with me, and be a fun time.
Yep. So you can message us here or just leave a comment. You can even leave a comment in chat, and I'll have them follow up with you, John.
Yep.
That's a great call. Yeah, I'll go on Discord. I'll go on all the Discords and mention that too. So.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, the more the merrier for these kind of things.
For sure. Can you see this? Okay, I'm probably gonna have to zoom in on this because this is pretty.
Yeah, I might have to pull it up on my own because I can't really see that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I should pull it up anyway because like you can see, that's not gonna come up really well on the screen. So let me just zoom in here. That should be better. There we go. Okay, so this is better. So we'll start up here. So here's Saturday. Although I zoomed in the wrong thing zoomed in. Whoops. How do I go back to normal? Okay. I meant to do it over here. Zoomed into the wrong thing. Okay. Over here. There we go. So
there we go.
That's better. Okay, so you can kind of see it here. I'll zoom out a little bit more. Just a little, because like now you can kind of see that. Maybe go a little bit more. Because I do kind of want to show you Saturday. There's Saturday. Okay, so
Yep.
Saturday, you can see we're starting with Georgia Southern Ohio. The Celebration Bowl. Every year, I just have no idea what to do with that game, so I just don't. And now I'm just gonna just not put that many
Yeah.
points in it.
Well, even when Jackson State was dominating with Dion, they would still lose it. So that's a really unpredictable game.
Yeah, yeah. So tough spot, tough call there. But some really good matchups coming up. New Mexico State, Fresno State. That is going to be fun in the New Mexico Bowl. I was leaning Fresno State, but I'm like, I don't think I should do that when it's basically a home game for New Mexico State, who had a very good year. Um, and then the LA Bowl, I'll be in the building for that one. We're gonna have UCLA versus
nice.
Boise. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one.
There we go.
I'm really curious as to your take on what you think you'll see offensively, because UCLA does have a great defense, but Boise State also has a great offense and they're really terrible defense. So I'm like, would you take the over or the under in a game like that?
Yeah. Well, first, before we kind of like get into maybe each particular game or ones that you want to highlight,
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing about handicapping bowl season obviously is number one motivation. Like, who wants to be there? Who doesn't want to be there?
Yep.
The second thing is all the news with transfer portal, guys opting out, whether it be the NFL draft, and then head coaching, coaching changes. So it can completely take the team that you're seeing in a bowl could be 100 times different than the team that played like all regular season in terms of the coach, the players, everything. Like some teams are just completely gutted. And in some of the matchups you mentioned, Boise State, they did hire a new coach, their interim coach that they had there for the remainder of the season. They hired him, but Taylon Green, their starter, transferred, so they're going to be on a backup quarterback. As I mentioned before, for UCLA, Dante Moore transferred, but UCLA, the other two guys, Garbers and Schlee, they both played throughout the year. So I don't think that's going to hurt UCLA so much, and I feel like they could be probably just really just run the ball right at Boise because, as you mentioned, their defense is pretty poor.
Yep.
So I think I have to see what their defensive opt-outs look like. I really haven't done.
Well, here it
dug
is.
into it too much.
I found this on Covers. So
There we
Covers.com
go.
has an opt-out tracker. So
Sweet.
it's pretty. This is a pretty useful link. I'll send you a link over here too. So
Yeah, I'll be pulling that up, and I know another app that I get some information from has a list too. But the more sites that you can get from, the better. So just to kind of cross check and whatnot, because one thing might miss something that the other one doesn't. So, but I can't see. Is there a lot of defensive names on that UCLA list?
Yeah, you have an inside IOL, Jake Wiley, IOL. You have one defensive back out, John Humphrey, for UCLA.
Okay.
So not a lot of defensive
All right,
players.
that doesn't seem terrible. I think I'm guessing IOL, interior offensive lineman, maybe.
That would be my
sounds
guess.
about right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not even defense. So
Okay, I mean that doesn't sound too terrible. I feel like UCLA has the major talent advantage, and that they'll be able just to run at Boise, and then the Boise offense probably isn't going to do much against the UCLA defense. So my lean, again, just based on the teams on the field, would have to be UCLA. But again, motivation's the key. Like, does UCLA really want to be there? Like, that's what you have to kind of gauge. I mean, Boise's going to get up for playing a Pac-12 team.
yes,
But
definitely.
does UCLA want to play in a bowl that basically, they're not even making like a trip?
No.
It's not like they're going to Hawaii or they're going to Texas. It's like they're walking out of their house and they're going to go play a game.
Exactly.
So
yeah, absolutely. It's a good setup. I think both teams probably have something to play for on paper. We'll see if UCLA realizes that or not. But that's the LA Bowl at 7:30 Eastern on Saturday. A huge Saturday, if I may say so. I mean, I don't know if I like the NFL scheduling games concurrent with this anymore. Like I've enjoyed it, but it's kind of, I don't know. It might be too much now. How do you keep track of all that at the same time?
Yeah, it's just this is a rough day.
Right?
Like, this is the day you want to be at the sports book and just hang out all day, because you could see all the bowl games, you could see the NFL, you got college basketball. Like, it's a great day of betting. And like, for myself, I have a holiday family party Saturday, and I'm just like the worst day of the year. Yeah. Terrible. Like, I'm gonna be on my phone just checking the scores all the entire time. Like, no socializing for me. I'm just gonna be checking my phone.
Yeah.
It's a rough one, but yeah, I get why the NFL wants to do their triple header this day, but it's just killing me. Like, 'cause I want to watch all these bowls and I want to watch the NFL too. I feel like you need to have one screen dedicated to the NFL. And the good news is they're all on NFL Network. So just keep that one screen, tablet, whatever, on NFL Network, and just leave it on there, and then just obviously periodically check in. And the bowls are spaced out well enough where I think you can kind of watch two at once. So if you have a three screen setup somehow, I think you're okay for this situation.
Yeah, I think that's fairly good advice, John, for all of you folks out there with multiple screens, computer screens, or if you had
tablets, whatever you got to do.
A lot of different ways to do it.
But as for the rest of the games on Saturday, I don't know if you wanted to highlight any of the other ones there.
I do. Let me just quickly run down a couple. Well, JC's had a really good year. The New Orleans Bowl might be interesting. I'm not exactly.
Yeah, that's gonna have some juice.
Yeah.
Because Jacksonville State, their first ever bowl game, they made it in because they were one team short of like the full 6-6 teams getting in. There was not enough. There's one 5-7 team in the bowls, and I'm sure we'll get to that matchup eventually.
Oh man.
Yeah. Do you even know who that is?
Well, I'll say. Wait, is it Rutgers?
No, Rutgers actually was 6.
Rutgers was good. Rutgers was pretty solid this year. I'm actually
they're not bad.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. There was a lot.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. You're right.
We'll get to the team that's 5-7. That's actually good. You can try to, as we go through it, you can try to pick out the team that's 5-7, Dave. But that game will have juice because Louisiana, they usually travel for that game. I remember in the past, like they were in that bowl like a number of years in a row, and they like sold out the crowd. Jacksonville State with their first ever bowl game, like Rich Rodriguez, like that game has juice. I'm into that game.
Yep. The Cure Bowl, Avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl, is a pretty...
Avocados from Mexico, right?
I love avocados, all right, and obviously I have heritage in Mexico, so I love the product. I just don't love the commercials, like.
Yeah, it's a little cringe.
Yeah. Miami of Ohio, though, really incredible. It's a tough team to watch. Everybody knows this. Like,
oh yeah,
it's a very tough team to watch. But they are just those cockroaches that hang around in the game because they bring you to grind you into a rock fight, and it's going to be very interesting to see if they've been really good against the spread all year, and big time props in them beating Toledo. Like Toledo looked so ordinary in the MAC championship. App State. I don't have a lot less of a read. The Sun Belt. I had no read on the Sun Belt this year. I was completely not watching that Sun Belt. I don't know why.
Yeah, 12 teams in Sun Belt. 12 Sun Belt teams in bowls. 12 out of 14, which is
wow.
No, probably
great,
their best year ever.
Great job out of them. But I just mean to say, like App State was more of an. I just didn't do a good job following them.
Yeah. They were an enigma to me. Like they started off pretty good, then they like sucked for a while, so you wouldn't bet against them, but then you kept betting against them, and then they turned it around towards the end of the year. Then you thought, okay, like they're back again, and then they got just destroyed by Troy in the championship game. But this matchup is interesting. I believe Miami, Ohio, Gabbert's hurt, so we knew that. But then the guy, Avian Smith, who started the MAC championship game, he's not playing either. So they're down to like a third string quarterback. But the question is, does it really matter? Because their defense is so good. Like you said, Dave, they're just going to kind of hang around and make this try to keep this game in the teens. So I think under is probably your bet here. I don't know. I haven't looked at the over-under for this game, but if it's anything like 45, I'm taking under.
Yeah.
In terms of the side, I honestly I don't know. Like this is going to be low on my. I don't have a guess on this one.
Well,
right now anyway.
I would take the points with Miami of Ohio. That for that I feel good.
Oh yeah, with the spread, sure. Yeah, I'll take it with the spread.
Oh, you're saying like straight up? Yeah, I would have I wouldn't know. That's
right because our pool, our bowl pool is straight up.
Yeah, that's a tough call. You're right. Like that's okay. So the over under for the game is 44.5. Yeah, it's close.
Oh, I was right on.
Yeah, it's pretty smart. That's pretty keen, John. Nicely done. On the other hand, you have New Mexico State and Fresno State in the New Mexico Bowl, over under 51.5. Love the over in that game. Like that, two teams that love to give points.
Yeah, New Mexico State, what a revelation.
Yeah.
Jerry Kill has been for them. Diego Pavia, this guy's electric. The one good thing Conference USA did this year was have those Tuesday and Wednesday night games, and we got to watch a bunch of these teams, and
Mhm.
they were really fun to watch. New Mexico State, and they're going to be motivated to be here. Um, Jeff Tedford's not coaching this game because of health issues, and Fresno State really struggled down the stretch. So I agree. I like New Mexico State in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. They had a really, really nice year. It's just unfortunate how the conference year ended with that. I mean, they were in the game, to be fair, but they just never seemed like they were going to keep a lead against Liberty because they just kept giving it up every time they scored. So
Yeah, that was kind of disappointing how they kind of gave it up in the second half. But they were really competitive with them for most of the game.
yeah.
But yeah, their defense showed that they're not that great. And like I just said, their offense is pretty electric. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm with you on the over, and I would lean New Mexico State for sure in this matchup.
Very good. So then we rounded out. I mean, yeah, we got the Independence Bowl with Cal and Texas Tech, but I don't know. Do you want to
Your standard 6-6 versus 6-6
Yeah.
matchup. I don't know with this one. You're going just based on conference strength, and
Yeah.
you take Cal, but like that doesn't always mean everything. So more research to be done for this one. At least this one, I think both teams would like want to be there and play. And I don't feel like there's going to be a lot of opt outs in this game. So I guess that's the one thing you can say about it.
Yeah. I mean, Texas Tech does have potential because I think their quarterback looked pretty good against West Virginia when they played. It was a while ago, but so I think there's that. But again, you got to, like you said, there's not many opt outs in the game, so that I don't know. You're right. Like this is probably like a 2-point spread. I'm gonna go look at this right now. 3-point spread.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
it's probably under a field goal.
Yeah. So, and then we mentioned LA Bowl. Anything you want to add for the LA Bowl?
Nope. I think we covered that one. I would lean UCLA just based on how we kind of talked that out. But again,
Yeah.
I'll have to monitor who's in and who's out closer to game time before I officially lock in my selection.
Before I go to the next day, I forgot to mention Georgia Southern Ohio and the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and I only mention it because the MAC was down a lot this year. Like that conference did not look good this year. It was kind of a tough watch.
Yeah, it really was.
So
yeah, Ohio. I don't think Rourke is playing. He transferred. So again, I don't know who's playing quarterback. Georgia Southern has a great offense, but their defense is just complete trash.
right.
So this one, I don't know. I have to really think about this one. This will definitely be lower on my confidence picks because Ohio has a really good defense. So if they're able to stop Georgia Southern even a little bit, they probably will be able to move the ball. But again, this is a tough one for me. I don't know. We're gonna have to think about this one.
Yeah, definitely. One of my mods from the sandwich shows in here. Hi, Jamie. It's good to see you here on YouTube. Welcome in. Just talking about all the games, and we mentioned we're doing a college bowl, like a bowl pick'em. So if you want to join us for that, let us know, and I'll give you the details. So let's move on to day 2. So day 2 is Monday because there's all the NFL stuff happening on the next day on Sunday, and on Monday we get. We'll just run through these all in one sitting. So we have the Favorites Toastery Bowl. Never heard of them.
I love it.
Like that.
Not to be confused with the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which does exist later on in bowl season.
That's true.
So I guess this was the Bahamas Bowl, but
Okay.
there's work being done on their stadium, so they moved it. So I guess it's in Charlotte.
Charlotte.
This
Okay.
game.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess it's like a local chain or something. So.
Okay. I couldn't tell you a damn thing about that one. Western Kentucky results. I have no idea. That's one of the backyard games. Like I'm not having that in my backyard. I'm just gonna skip it. Like.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Yeah.
Old Dominion. I remember I had said under on them before the year. I'm completely wrong about that. So great job by them getting to a bowl. I'm with you. I really don't know. I need to check if Western Kentucky's quarterback Austin Reed's playing because he's usually pretty he's pretty good and they showed out in their bowl last year.
Yep.
So yeah, this is I agree with you. This is a rough one. Good thing it's 2:30 on a Monday. This is kind of the game you put on like in the background
right.
Maybe put a bet in for sure, but I don't know.
I don't even have any idea what the totals like would be or whether I would even want to lean the over and the under. I can't say. I guess the over, but again, I just have no idea. For Tuesday, we've got the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. Good matchup though. I think it's a good matchup. I don't really know how good Marshall was this year, but UTSA is a solid team. So UTSA Marshall sounds like a fun one for me.
Yeah, UTSA, one of our darlings here on
Yep.
the show all year. I think Frank Harris is still playing. So we got to roll with UTSA here. I mean, Marshall's was a pretty big disappointment coming off of last season. I know they barely qualified for this game, but I think UTSA is the far superior team in this matchup. So I'm going to go with the Roadrunners here. Meep meep, as we like to say.
Yeah, I think I'll tag along with that meet because definitely a team that has been a proven winner throughout the year. Thursday, December 21st. Again,
Oh,
just skip
this
this
one.
one. Like South Florida,
Yeah.
yeah.
Andy texted me about this one. Like, this is one of the ones that like he wouldn't watch in his backyard. Like this is a brutal game. A former Big East conference game.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who remember the old Big East, UCF and Syracuse
Syracuse.
were in the same conference.
Uh,
Yeah, this was rough. This is really bad because Babers got fired finally.
yep.
Um, South Florida actually will probably be motivated to be in this game because they had been so bad for so long that they brought in a new coach and they make it to a bowl game. So I figure they are going to want to be there. I don't know about Syracuse. Like I don't know how they ended up getting to 6 wins. It's every year they start off like 5-0 and then they lose like every game after that. I guess they stole like a game at the end of the year to get to this one. But yeah, this is a rough.
Yeah. So, folks, if you're looking for advice, we don't have any. The advice would
Yeah.
be skip the game.
Skip this one, but if you're in a pool, you got to bet all of them. Like, hey, listen, I'm gonna have a bet on every single bowl game. Like, I'm trashing it, but when it comes time before the game, like, yeah, I'll probably put some money down on
Yeah.
South Florida.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think of the two, like South Florida feels like the safe call. Yeah, that's a good call. Like ceiling, motivation. Like these are all things
Right.
that go into
Exactly.
these matchups. So,
Yep.
all right, now we have a better matchup with Georgia Tech UCF, but again, this might be time. This might be a good opportunity to check that opt out tracker. So that's the Gasparilla
Yeah.
Bowl. Let's go see.
Yeah. Like, and again, like UCF, they're playing in Tampa. Like, it's not a bowl trip for. That's like not like a vacation or a trip for them. Like, it's
Hmm.
ridiculous. Um, Georgia Tech will be motivated for sure. I don't know about UCF. UCF has been a weird team all year. Like, their defense doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like it all depends on if Plumlee's healthy or not. Like, just a kind of a hard team to figure out. Um, Georgia Tech had some moments. Like, they beat North Carolina and like almost beat Miami, but then they can lose to Bowling Green. So who the hell knows what you're going to get with them? So yeah, this one's a toss up.
Yeah, definitely a toss up. I just saw that the over under 63.5 points, and I do lean over. I would
Oh
lean
yeah,
over.
you
Yeah.
you got to take the over.
Yeah. So there's definitely a bet to be had there. Now we go to Saturday. You got a bunch of games here. I like the Birmingham Bowl. Like you've got two defensive or teams known for their defense, Troy versus Duke to start things off. Camellia Bowl between
Unfortunately, both coaches are gone.
yeah, true story. Yeah. So
Elko went to Texas A&M, and the Troy guy Summerall just went to Tulane. So no, this is a bowl where you got to find out who's coaching, like
mhm.
what assistant is coaching, and then find out like all your opt outs. Well, we know Riley Leonard he left because he's at Notre Dame. He transferred from Duke to Notre Dame. So yeah, this is like an information bowl. Just find out who's playing, who's not playing,
Mhm.
who's coaching. Like that's gonna determine your handicap here. My lean would be Troy if I had to pick it right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Troy was very, very good this year.
They
Like,
were dominant. As long as they have their star players playing, I think the coach not being there is not as big of a deal as Duke.
nah, they took this thing to the finish line. They should be fine. I think so too. Camellia Bowl. This is just another case of fade the Mac to me, but I don't know a thing about Arkansas State. What can you say about the Camellia Bowl?
Butch Jones, you really want to back him in a bowl
Okay,
game?
that's a good
I don't know
argument.
if
Good argument.
I do.
All right, maybe I'll just lay off that one.
Yeah, that one's that's another tough one. I
Yeah.
don't know. Again, I had to do some more research on some of these teams because like we followed them throughout the year, but the MAC was horrible. But yet, do we really want to back Butch Jones in a bowl? Like this one is like flip a coin. I don't know. I bet the spread on this is like if I had to guess, I'd say it's like Arkansas State like -1. That'd be my guess.
Let's go see. Arkansas State for this game is wow. How do you do it, John? That's incredible. -1.
Well, it is -1. There you go. Hey, some sports book out there hire me. I can set the lines for
Pretty
you.
good. Pretty good. Junkie would be very proud of you. Like that's really well done. Okay, the Armed Forces Bowl. A lot of controversy with James Madison this year. They were denied eligibility by the NCAA, and there was a lot of outrage over that. But there was a statement that if there were not enough teams they could put in, then here they are. They're going to play Air Force.
They are. Yep, them in Jacksonville State, like we mentioned before. So James Madison's going to be motivated to be here. So they lost their coach Signetti, went to Indiana, but you have to see if any other players left. I haven't heard anything. Air Force Surface Academy is going to be motivated to play in a bowl game like
Yep.
that. That's no doubt. But
tough call. Uh-oh. Did I lose your audio, John? Sorry about that. Let me see. What happened there? Why didn't I hear John's voice? Can you hear me? I just clicked the thing and then suddenly your voice is gone? Like, what happens if you unmute and mute and unmute yourself? Did I switch something by mistake? No, this looks fine on my end. That's really weird. John, let's go ahead and let me go ahead and get you back on the call. I'm gonna go. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna get John back in just a second here. So let me just gonna wait a second here. That doesn't make any sense. Like audio is working fine over here. I have everything set up correctly, so we'll just wait for John to return. I was really excited to hear his analysis of this game because this is like he's right. Like both teams are going to really go in with a head of steam. I think the Armed Forces Bowl could be a really good game. So as to how you would play that, I mean, it's going to be a small spread. That seems to go without saying, and in fact, it is a small spread. It's a 2.5 points. It's a 2.5 point spread. James Madison is favored by 2.5, so just about right. I think you would take the points with Air Force, but again, it's such a small spread that you can't really say. Let's see if we got John back. John, do we have you back? Can you hear us? Okay. Hold on. Let me try this too. I don't hear you, John. I'm not sure what happened there. Try again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I hear you. Okay. I don't know what's going on. It must be my device. Okay.
All right. I think we were talking about Air Force and James Madison, right?
Yeah, we were. And so I did get the point spread for this game, and it is 2.5. James Madison's favored by 2.5. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they have one of the best rush defenses in the entire country. So that's going to come in huge, obviously, against the option with Air Force. But again, we need to see who's playing and who's not playing for James Madison. I feel like they're not going to have many opt-outs or anything for this game because it's their first bowl game in program history. They want to finish off strong. So we'll have to check into that. But definitely the matchup on paper favors James Madison.
Yeah. I think emotionally and just like statistically, you probably would go with James Madison in that spot. Like I think that's how I would play it in the pool that in our pool, in our like straight up pool. It'll be a good one. We'll see. It could go either way. Good stuff. So let's go back to our schedule and take a look at the rest of that day. The famous Idaho to Potato Bowl definitely earned a reputation. The tech teams not so much. Georgia State, Utah State, 68.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I couldn't tell you.
I mean, Georgia State very up and down.
Mm-hmm.
They started off the year great, finished terrible. Utah State is again Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, I saw Utah State in person. Like UConn completely gashed them with UConn's offense, and that's not a good thing when UConn's putting up like 500 yards of offense on you. But at the same time, like I feel like in this matchup, the Mountain West team has the advantage when they go to this Boise game because they made the trip before, and they're not really going to be affected by the elements as opposed to the Sun Belt team. So just for that alone, my lean here would be Utah State.
Yeah. we'll go through the rest of this, but I did want to mention like the Las Vegas Bowl. Like I was like, oh, this would be a really good year to go to the Las Vegas Bowl. It's going to be at the new Raider Stadium. This would be a fun trip. And then I saw the teams that were playing, and like, nah.
Utah Northwestern, love it. What a matchup.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Yeah. You know what though? Props to Northwestern because they were like the laughing stock of college football before the season, and their coach, David Braun, did a fantastic job to get them to a bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, the Big Ten West was like the biggest pile of shit we've ever seen this year.
Yep.
But still, they had to win the games, and they did. And you know they're going to be motivated for this one. Utah, I don't know. I mean, they played in back-to-back Rose Bowls. Like, are they really going to be motivated to play in the Las Vegas Bowl against Northwestern? I know the whole thing about like Whittingham being a great bowl coach, and they're so disciplined and they're going to take the game seriously. Well, I think they lost to Northwestern in a bowl game a few years ago. I think Andy probably could remember that because I think we were on Utah in that game, and they lost to Northwestern. I don't remember what bowl game it was, so maybe a little bit of revenge from that point of view. But the idea that Utah's unbeatable in a bowl game, I don't know. I know Northwestern will be ready for this game. I know that. I'm going to guess the spread is Utah minus 7.5.
All right, let's go to the tape. Let's see.
I'm going to say Utah minus 7.5. If that's the case, I might take the Wildcats.
Wow, 6.5, and most of the public is on that. By the way, most people like Northwestern as well, so makes sense.
Okay,
makes sense.
All right, I don't know. It's sad. I might go with the Big Ten West team, but sometimes you got to.
It's kind of I have to agree with that though because I think Utah was one of the most disappointing teams in the conference this year. Really, if you think about it, like. Normally they're consistent. They're not necessarily the flashiest team or the best team, but they are the most consistent. This is not that year. And you can only blame so much of that on the quarterback injuries because like honestly, they just weren't that good. Like their offense was really tough. It was a tough watch.
Yep, and their defense regressed a little bit too, and that's kind of unusual for them. And Cam Rising is back next year for like his 50th year in college, so we'll see how that goes.
All right, the Hawaii Bowl. Now, here's the thing. All of you, Andy, yourself, and I'm sure Robert and Virginia probably had some comments on this too, were down on Coastal all year and their Mongo coach. I cannot think you would be taking them in this game, even with points.
No chance. San Jose all the way here.
Yeah.
They finished the year so strong. They should have played in the Mountain West Championship game. That was such bullshit that UNLV got in. The teams they just played in San Jose beat them on their home field, but by some formula, like it was crazy. Like the day after after the games had ended on the end of the last day of the season, the regular season, the Mountain West is like, oh, we need the computers to decide the Mountain West Championship matchup. Like this isn't ready. Like once the game is over, like you have to wait overnight to see what the computers say. Like such bullshit. Like it was complete
that's
nonsense. San Jose should have been in that game. They got off to a poor start this year because their schedule was so tough.
Mm-hmm.
But then in Mountain West play, they really came on strong. You love their quarterback Cordero, and Grayson McCall is not playing in this game. Just an incredibly long trip for Coastal to get to Hawaii. Yeah, all over San Jose in this bowl.
It's tough not to take them here. Like even if you get it wrong, like you just can't feel right taking Coastal Carolina after the season they've had. It's a disaster of a year. Like, I didn't even know how they made a bowl, to be honest with you. They were terrible. They lost some teams that they really shouldn't have. So anyway.
I did think they played a little better than I thought they would have once McCall got hurt. Because they did win enough games to get to this position. But I just don't think this is a good spot for them.
Yeah, agree. Let's go over to
Dave, you missed the 68 Ventures Bowl between South Alabama and Eastern Michigan. How could you miss that one?
I mean, bad job out of me. Like honestly, who could forget about South USA versus EMU?
My God, EMU is probably the worst team in bowl season, just by like the power ratings. They are so bad.
They're so bad. Like it was pathetic. Like I think who was it that I'm trying to remember what the game was like in the middle of Saturday. It was like really cold, and it was like they had like a total like 15 points, like 20 points in the game. And was it Northern Iowa that was killing them? I don't remember who it was. I can't even remember what the game was, but it's the word that comes to mind when I think of Eastern Michigan is hopeless. like it's a hopeless team. You think, well, they're getting 21. No, like it's just
No, see, actually, my theory on Eastern Michigan, it's been proven out many times.
Mhm.
You take them when they're getting big points because they'll cover, but you never, under any circumstances, take them as a favorite. So that's the kind of dynamic we need with them. So they're probably catching a bunch in this game.
You gotta be.
I might take them with the points. I'm
I
not
don't
saying they're
know.
going to win, but
I don't know.
they're pesky as a dog.
Well, that is true. I mean, certainly in the last like 3 or 4 years, they've been pesky, and
Yeah,
even
exactly.
this year.
Oh yeah, I mean they were a complete laughing stock years ago. They couldn't do anything. This coach they got, Creighton, he's to get Eastern Michigan to bowl games is give the guy a medal. But I'm sure they're catching a bunch. I take them with the points. I would not pick them to win this.
Yeah,
game.
it looks like they're getting 16 and a half. Okay, I think
Oh my God!
I'll take a chance on that. I'll take a chance on that. Yeah, you're right,
Jesus,
John.
yeah.
You've convinced me. Like I think that's fair because like the thing of it is like we were just talking about, like they don't have the talent, and for them to hang around in these games, that's a really good point. Like that is true. Like very low scoring games, of course, but still, it's what you got to do when you have a talent, when you have that kind of roster. So, speaking of which, the over under is 47. Huh.
Under.
I think under, but I don't know
know.
because at South Alabama does give up like oodles and oodles of points, though. So I'm not sure.
That's tough.
I have to think about it.
I feel more confident getting the 16 and a half.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because remember, the public's going to be in on this too. They're like, "Oh, this team has a better record. Let's just go with them or whoever." And so I think it's a good call. All right, so that's that. I think that's everybody on Saturday.
Yep.
Move ahead to Tuesday. Because wait, what's
look at this triple header. This is my favorite day of bowl season.
Oh my God.
So Dave, we've reached the point of the team with the 5-7 record.
Oh boy. Is it Minnesota?
Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Oh God. Oh. I mean, when you were watching these games, like Minnesota versus Michigan or Minnesota versus whoever, Ohio State, like did you just have that feeling of a bowl season? Like are they going
Honestly,
bowl?
like this quick lane bowl, go back through it the last 4 or 5 years. They get the shittiest matchup every single year because it's like literally the last Big Ten team to make it gets sent to this game, and it's brutal every single year.
Yeah.
And this year's no different. This is the one literally don't watch it, you know, in my backyard. This is so bad.
That is not. And before you start thinking this is a good under opportunity, well, I better tell you that and it is, to be fair, but it's going to be a small number, and it is indeed 38 and a half. So it's like,
oh man, I was hoping for like 41.
Yeah, 40 would have been good. Yeah.
But see, like I feel like you have to almost take Minnesota too, because as bad as they are, just their line play is probably better than Bowling Green. They can just probably run the ball and then stop the run all game, and they'll win like 16-10, and they're just a disgusting game.
So Minnesota's giving points, of course, we knew that, but 4.5. That seems like right about where.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah.
I mean, they're offensively challenged. Well, like I said, they can probably just run the ball the entire time against Bowling Green. Bowling Green was in this game last year. They played New Mexico State. I remember that.
Oh yeah. I think I was in Vegas that week when I was watching that game somewhere.
I'm gonna have to bet this goddamn game. I don't want it.
We're presenting angles because we got to find some juice everywhere, right? So let's.
Right. I mean, come on. Like it's the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
It's 2:00. Like, what else are you gonna do than bet the Quick Lane Bowl? I mean, come on.
There you go. Mm-hmm. So, and after that exciting Quick Lane Bowl,
it gets better and better. Texas State and Rice.
Oh my God, John. This is really going to test your knowledge of the sport. I have no idea. What did you say about this game?
Hey, UConn beat Rice. I watched it.
Okay.
And that's all I really need to know. No, JT Daniels is not playing in this game. He had a concussion, I believe, and he's not cleared. Best wishes to him for dealing with that. But so he's not playing. Texas State, really impressive offense. This is their first ever bowl game, and they've been a D1 program for a little while now. I want to say about 10 years. So they're going to be motivated to be here. So this game actually could be sneaky good. Give me this game over Bowling Green, Minnesota, a million times over.
Okay.
No doubt.
Okay.
So even though the team name, like, it's not like a name brand game, I think this game could have some juice. If I have to pick, this is a tough pick. I don't know. I'd lean Rice slightly.
Okay.
What's the line on this?
Let's go.
I want
Yeah,
actually. You know what?
that's.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say Rice -3. I might be wrong on this one.
No, Texas State -4.5.
Oh wow, I'm way off. Okay. Wow, I just gave 7 points of value to Rice, so maybe I'm misread on this game.
Hmm. But I did make the point earlier that sometimes the public does sway these numbers. So sometimes that there's a little bit of the casuals in the mix when it comes to these point spreads. So that's one thing I'm always looking at. But we'll see. Like, as I said, I will take your word for it on that one for sure. Because like I don't know a thing about either team this year. But I would not say that about the next game, Guaranteed Rate Bowl. This could be an exciting game. I mean,
over.
Yeah,
Over.
exactly. Over.
What is it, Dave? I'm gonna guess 65.
Let's go see. The number is 64. Wow, that is on the money. 64.5. And I wouldn't even hesitate taking over that game. Like, there's no
Over.
Yeah.
Even with, I know Kansas just lost their offensive coordinator. I believe he went to Penn State, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't matter to me. Like, their offense is electric. I'm sure they have a assistant that can call plays for this game, and they still have. I'm assuming Jason Bean is going to play. I don't think Jalen Daniels has been like in and out of the lineup all year. It doesn't matter. Like, whoever is the quarterback for the Kansas offense, it's just so productive. And we saw UNLV's defense down the stretch of the season. Like, they're horrendous.
Yeah.
So they're going to score. Kansas's defense isn't very good. UNLV is going to score. This game isn't over. No doubt.
Big time, bigly over. All you have to do is go back to the Mountain West Championship about a week ago. UNLV gave up 31 points in the first half to Boise State. Like that, they will absolutely give up some touchdowns in this game. Like, it's not even. It's a very good call. I need to write that down on my sheet too, just to make sure that I don't forget about it. Because like I need to put that over, and like I'm gonna kill myself if I don't at least try it. Like, so I'm gonna put that down right now on my sheet. But getting back to it, let's go to the next day, and we are gonna move ahead to. Let's see. We are into Wednesday, December 27th, and then
we're actually getting into some okay matchups now. Maybe
a little bit. I mean, I do think that North Carolina, West Virginia could be a firecracker of a game.
It could have been, but Drake May's not playing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, again, transfer portal.
He just declared for the NFL draft.
Yeah, opt-out situation. So then, I mean, I think I would have taken West Virginia regardless. Like, that would have been my play.
Yeah, but even more so now.
Yeah,
for sure,
definitely.
I mean, come on, Mac Brown is just get that shit out of here. Like, he's not going to have them ready to play in a bowl game.
Nah.
I know we've Neil Brown's not. I wouldn't say he's a great coach, but he can outwit Mac Brown. Is this the Mayo Bowl?
This is the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Mayo Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh man, I almost want to see Mac Brown get dumped with Mayo. Oh, damn it! Like,
it'd be fun.
But I don't think they're going to win. No, you got to stick with Virginia here.
I agree.
I mean, North Carolina is just so underachieving. West Virginia should win this game, especially with no Drake May.
Yeah, for sure. Point spread for the game is.
I bet it went up now. I bet West Virginia's favored.
Oh, they are. So they're a 5-point favorite now.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm actually gonna move this tab. I'm gonna move this tab off camera so that it doesn't get so distracting for everybody. But okay, so that's looking pretty good. And now we're gonna Holiday Bowl. This is so we already mentioned that Caleb is not gonna play this game. Caleb Williams is out. I imagine there's a bunch of opt-outs from USC's side. So like I
can't see USC getting up for this one.
No, there's no.
I can't.
This is good. I mean, there's no way they're gonna win this game. I just can't.
Yeah, I don't see. I feel like Louisville's gonna want to play this game,
and for that exact reason. And I like Louisville. Louisville's not nice here. They're a fun team and everything, but I have almost no motivation to go to the game.
Yeah, what's USC's motivation to play in this?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I don't see it.
Exactly. It's just I can't. It's kind of
what's the spread on this?
Well,
Is USC favored?
no, absolutely no. Once they
No.
announced that he was out, Louisville was a clear favorite, and currently FanDuel Sportsbook has them at 7.5. Giving,
Louisville minus 7.5.
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
touch that, but I definitely think Louisville will win the game.
Yeah, that's a little much to lay. I mean, USC still has some athletes.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of opt-outs, though. Look at that.
Yeah, that's all. That's all.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking Louisville to win, but who else is out besides Caleb? Is basically their entire like all their
Malik Brown is
playmakers?
out. Jude Wolf, I didn't really hear much from this year, so I don't worry about him. But Colombo's out, the running back, and then a handful of defensive players are also out. So
All right. Well, their defense wasn't very good to begin with.
exactly.
So.
That's a neutral. No, that has no
Yeah,
impact on the
neutral
game.
does not affect the spread whatsoever. But yeah, Caleb Williams for sure.
Yeah.
Who's their backup? Their backup quarterback.
Oh gosh, bad job on me not knowing this. Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, that's a good question. And Caleb was hurt for like a series, I think, at one point, but it wasn't long enough for me. Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
All right. Well, we know Louisville's the side to choose for the straight up, but I had to think about that spread for a little bit.
I feel like the stadium is going to be almost majority Louisville fans now because
I agree. I feel like they'll travel to that. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. And then we round things out with the Texas Bowl between Texas A&M and Oklahoma State. So they fired Jimbo. You mentioned that earlier.
Yes.
Oklahoma State's a really weird team to.
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like
Gundy's pretty good in bowls, so I feel like they'll be ready for this game. Like, what's A&M's kind of? Do they really want to show out for their new coach?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I'd probably lean Oklahoma State in this, but again, not that confident. Dave, we missed Vatek Tulane.
Oh, we did. Yeah, right. The Military Bowl. Okay, yes. And as you mentioned, Fritz is left for greener pastures. So
no, so you have to root for Houston now.
Wow.
Because he went to Houston.
That's a good spot for him. I think
the old used car salesman Holgerson finally gone. Get Fritz in there. I mean, that's an upgrade.
Yeah,
I mean,
big
Houston
upgrade.
could be they could be dangerous now in the Big 12.
Yeah,
and like I said earlier, Tulane did a good job filling it immediately with a guy from Troy. I feel like Vatek is going to want to play in this game because they haven't made a bowl in a while. And this is pretty local to them.
Yeah.
Being in DC. I need to see if, Tulane was kind of just skating by all year.
True.
Like, they were like barely beating some of these bad teams in the AAC. And it finally just came to a head in the conference championship game. I'd lean Vatek in this one.
I will agree with you on that. Vatek's offense isn't much, though. But at the same time, you're right about Tulane. Like, they've looked pretty.
They're definitely not as good as last year's team.
That
beat USC. Not at all. Now, we need to see if Michael Pratt is playing too for Tulane because that makes a huge difference as well.
Oh, let's go find out. Let's go see if Michael Pratt's opting out or anything else. Let's go see. Let's see. Scrolling down a little bit. Oh, I think I've gone too far. It's back here. I don't see anything with Pratt, so Pratt might play.
Okay, so he's in then.
Yeah.
All right. That'll be a good game then. But I would still lean back.
Haggard is transfer portal, though. So the quarterback, or at least one of the quarterbacks, is going to the transfer portal. So I don't know if that has as much of an impact. Carson Haggard is going to be in the transfer portal for Tulane.
Is that for? Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Okay.
So, as long as Michael Pratt's not on there.
No, Pratt's not on the list. You're good. Okay. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, Vatek is favored by 7.5. I don't know if would you do that?
That's a big number too.
Yeah.
There's your square play of the day. Like, just parlay. Oh my God, 3-team money line parlay. I can see it from here. Vatek, West Virginia, Louisville. Like, there's your square that for the 27th. One of those teams will go down in flames.
I'm just worried about Vatek. I feel like it'd be Vatek of the three. Three.
I could see that.
I can see it. I mean, I agree with you that I think they should be getting the lean. So I'm with you in that. But certainly once you clear that hurdle, if you do clear that hurdle, it's like easy sailing the rest of the way. It seems to
Yeah.
me. So,
Although I really do want to see Mac Brown hit the Mayo. Uh, it's the only reason I kind of want to pick North Carolina, based on zero reasoning at all, except for him getting dumped with Mayo.
I mean, look, West Virginia had a really bananas game against, was that against Houston? Like the one where they like scored at the end of the game, basically.
Yes. Yep.
And I got big time hard, bad beated on that game. Like, and Tommy did
that
too.
was a rough one.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Were you on that too? Like, what were you? Which side were you on? Or were you on?
I feel like I didn't have a bet on that game.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would have clearly like been going berserk about it. But yeah, I think I was just kind of torn on that. So yeah, I don't think I had a bet.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty, there's definitely some juice here with this slate. Definitely for the purpose of parlays, like there's definitely some action here you can have here.
There's some juice on this day.
Yeah. So now we move to Thursday. Now we're getting to the good stuff. We're getting to the good stuff. So we have.
So you would have thought, and then you see the first two games on the
schedule. Maybe we're another day before the good stuff, right?
No, the afternoon slate is trash. The evening slate is pretty good.
Yeah. So we'll start with the Fenway Bowl and the Pinstripe Bowl.
Jesus.
I will take Rutgers though. Rutgers in the Fenway Bowl are just it's a thing. It's a thing.
No, Rutgers is in the it's the Pinstripe Bowl.
Or did I say I meant to say Pinstripe Bowl. I'm sorry. Pinstripe Bowl.
That's okay.
Because Rutgers has played the Pinstripe Bowl seemingly every year for the last like 10 years. Like
I agree with you. I don't think Miami is going to want to play in this game. And plus, going to the cold in New York, we need this to be like a 30-degree day.
Yeah.
Even more so, we'll lock up Rutgers because their defense is really good.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have the crowd advantage. They're going to want to be there to play for this game. I'm with you. Give me Scarlet Knights.
Let's go. SMU. Got to think SMU, right?
Yeah. What's your reward for winning the AAC? Instead of getting to the New Year's Six and getting to play against Oregon, you got to go to Boston and play Boston College in the Fenway Bowl. Future conference foes.
Yeah.
In fact, next year. They should just destroy Boston College. If they want to be there and play, it's not going to be a contest. But again, is SMU going to feel snubbed? Are they going to want to play this game? That's the question. I don't know.
Yeah. There's definitely no business for SMU to lose this game. But as you said, motivation is a big part of this. And it's at 11 o'clock Eastern kickoff, too. Like, that's...
Jesus. 11 a.m. on Thursday the 28th.
Yeah, that's a tough spot. That's tricky. That's a tricky. SMU's kind of been mostly an over team this year. Is that your impression too? I'm trying to remember. I don't really know.
Yes, but it's really because their offense puts it over by themselves. Their defense is really good.
Yeah. Okay. So then I would then lean the under in this game, but I need to see what that number is though. Let me see. So we're looking at.
If it's like in the high 50s, I'm gonna say under.
Let's go see. Looking at it. 51.5. Yeah, that's not quite high 50s, but
yeah, I wanted a little higher than that. I wanted like 56, but
yeah,
I still would lean under.
I think so. We'll see. The number could go up too. Like we'll see. It's got another week or so, another couple weeks before we get there. So now the Pop-Tarts Bowl and
Pop-Tarts Bowl. Here we go.
There we go. Let's get your rundown of both of those bowls. Alma Bowl, Pop-Tarts Bowl.
I don't know what to make of the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Kansas State is probably the better team, but I feel like NC State is just kind of again, like kind of one of those cockroach teams that just kind of hangs around and just, they have a good defense and, their offense isn't anything to write home about for sure. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, they don't take like these bowl games for granted. Like they show up to these games. Same with Kansas State. So this actually is going to be probably a really good game. I need to see the opt-outs. I don't feel like there will be many opt-outs in this one because both teams, like, they're just kind of like on the next level in their respective conferences. So like not a lot of guys are going to be leaving or transferring. That's kind of my feeling.
Oh my gosh. Well.
Oh, well, maybe I was wrong about that. Look at that list.
Ooh. Now, I don't know how good all these players are.
Yeah. All right. Well, this game will take some more research.
Yeah. Looks like it.
Is Will Howard on that list for Kansas State? And is Brennan Armstrong on that list for
Oh
NC
man.
State? Those are the respective
Yeah.
quarterbacks.
I remember Howard, and yeah, he is on that list. Transfer report. Wow.
Yikes.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I need to reevaluate my opinion about this game. Good thing it's not one of the first ones. So,
Wait,
all
did you
right.
say did you say his name was
Yeah,
MJ Morris? Is that the name of the guy for NC State?
he's one of them. But then Brennan Armstrong
Oh,
he's.
okay, okay. So
I
Armstrong's
feel
in
like
the
Armstrong is probably going to
he'll
play.
play. He'll
Morris,
play.
he was like kind of in and out.
Okay.
So Armstrong's probably the quarterback. Yeah. My lean now would be under seeing this.
That's a good call because like NC State's not really NC State's offense in
Their
general.
offense isn't good to begin with,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I like it's a good number.
Yeah, definitely some more research needed on this game.
Yeah.
But then the Alamo, I mean, Arizona all the way. I don't think there's any doubt in this
Yeah,
one.
Gabriel's out, right? Gabriel's not going to play.
Yeah, Gabriel is he's going to be going to Oregon.
Yeah.
So, Oklahoma was really never a great bowl team recently anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then Arizona has just all the momentum in the world from the season that they just had. They're going to want to finish that off strong. I don't feel like any of their players, I could be wrong. You could pull up the sheet there and there could be a shitload of Arizona players, but I feel like they're going to want to be here to play this game and finish off their strong season. I mean, that guy, Noah Fafita, what a great season he had.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, two names on the list.
For Arizona's good.
Arizona. Yeah.
Oh.
Arizona. Easy play.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this. And again, I need to go back to my sheet to confirm that I am on this side because I should be because this, yeah, there's no question. Like the motive, the momentum is clearly on the Wildcats' favor. The thing about it is, John, like Arizona had a very good year. Like they gave everybody a tough game. Like we already talked about.
Just think about it. If they had, if the divisions in the Pac-12 still existed, they would have won the South Division and they would have gone to the championship game. So it hurt them that they got rid of that format for this year.
Yeah.
And just think if they hadn't blown that USC game, they might have been in the championship. So yeah, nothing but an arrow pointing up for Arizona. Yeah, all the way here.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. They gave Washington a really tough time. I think who's the other team that they were like hanging around against at home? Maybe that was Washington. Maybe that was Washington.
I think it was Washington. Yeah, I think their only two losses were in the conference were that USC game and then Washington.
Yeah. So the two games that they lost were really tough. They gave them everything. Like, wild stuff. So yeah, I love the call. Let's go to Friday. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did.
No, I don't think you did.
Okay, so Friday we've got the Gator Bowl, the Sun Bowl, Liberty Bowl, and the Cotton Bowl Classic. So I'll give it to you first to run down these games. I mean, interesting matchups here, and I'll tell you my leans because I got.
Can you put the schedule up again?
Oh, sorry, I thought it was up already. Okay, here we go.
No worries.
Here we go.
Well, first off, the Sun Bowl might end 3-0 because there's no one playing for both sides. Do you remember the Sun Bowl between Pitt and Oregon State? I forget what year it was. It was moons ago. Dave Wanstead was coaching the Pitt Panthers. It ended 3-0.
Wow.
This game might end 3-0. Just like the Vikings Raiders the other day.
Oh gosh.
There's no one left for Oregon State because Jonathan Smith left for Michigan State. DJU transferred. Like, if you pull up that other list of the opt-outs, like Oregon State is just going to be massive.
It's going to be like scrolling through like several pages.
Yeah, you're going to be scrolling through.
Well, it's not that many pages, but that's still a lot of guys out.
Well, it's important players. Like I can see from here, DJ, the running back Martinez, right?
Right.
Notre Dame's got a bunch too. Hartman is Hartman? Did Hartman opt out? Yeah, I think he's not playing. I think he opted out. Yeah,
this chart might not be up to date. I don't believe.
I know he can't. He's not a transfer. He's just transferred in for his grad year. But I don't think he's playing. Like, I feel like Notre Dame fans are going to be there, so I think it'll be like the atmosphere will be good. I just don't know. I think just because Marcus Freeman is still there, I think they'll put a good enough game plan in a team like with what they have versus the skeleton crew at Oregon State. That's kind of my pick for this one. So I would say the Irish.
It feels, I don't hate that. It's a real coin flip. It's a real coin flip here. Like this is, and not because of the rankings. The rankings have nothing to do with it. Like just like you said.
Yeah, they throw the rankings out the window.
Yeah,
at this
yeah,
point. It's just who's, but that'd be my kind of initial handicap is that Freeman's still there. Last year they were missing players and they won their bowl games, so
yeah.
um, that'd be my lean. The earlier game is what the Gator Bowl, Clemson and Kentucky. I don't freaking know.
I
I
would.
know that's great analysis, but
No, it's completely fair. Like I have no feel. I think
I have no feel for this game. None.
I would take the under in the game, but again, like
Yes,
nobody knows.
agreed.
But I would take it. Like you figure both teams have been really
I mean, I
grinding.
feel like Kentucky is going to want to be there to play
Hmm.
because they're kind of like NC State in that they're never going to reach that top level. So games like this are important to them.
Yeah,
Clemson, I don't
yeah.
know. They did have a little resurgence towards the end of the year, so I could see them kind of wanting to play this game. But I'm with you. I think under's the bet. I think both offenses are going to struggle in
Yeah.
this game. I don't know about the side.
I would take
Um,
Kentucky. Well, Kentucky's getting 5.5. I would catch
oh
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
take Kentucky for sure.
So Oregon State, Notre Dame, the over under is 42.5 or 43, depending on where you look.
I'd probably say under on that too.
Same.
I think it's going to be unless there's so many people or opt outs or you know guys not playing that both defenses are like ravaged. I mean, in that case, I guess you might get a high scoring game. But who's playing like quarterback for either team? Like I don't know. That's a tough one. But
Yeah.
again, like my lean just based on the facts would be Notre Dame. Um, so the other two games there, Liberty Bowl, right? Is that Memphis and
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State?
Mm-hmm.
So that's in Memphis. That's like a home game
Yeah.
for Memphis. See that they kind of get screwed again. Like there's no real bowl trip for them, but at the same time they get to play a Big 12 team. I mean, Iowa State they had a pretty good year considering like all the gambling stuff that happened at the end of the year. Like we thought they were going to be like a dead team walking. They played pretty well in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that they'll be. I think both teams are going to be motivated to play in this game, so this should be a good game. What's the spread on this? I'd be interested to know. I want to say Iowa State by like a touchdown.
We have Iowa State by about a touchdown, 8.5. 8.5.
There we go.
Yeah.
That feels like a little too many,
Yeah.
especially for a Memphis home game. Essentially,
I I
I mean, I
think
know
so.
the AAC wasn't great this year, so
Mm-hmm.
they kind of padded their wins with some bad teams. But I feel like Memphis is competent enough to kind of stay within that number, especially at home.
I sometimes when I don't know what to do with a matchup, I tend to go with like who has like more NFL quality players. You can't really do that with this
No,
game.
that's a good way to do it. That probably would be Iowa State.
Probably Iowa State, right?
Yeah,
But you're right. Like I don't know about 8.5. Like I'd probably
yeah.
take
I don't trust their Matt Campbell either
yeah.
in a big game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
this is a tough one. I would lean Memphis with the points. Maybe. Well, see, the thing is, like most of the time in these bowl games, if you're going to take the dog with the points, they're just going to win outright anyway. So you shouldn't like try to hedge the scenario where you're taking the dog with the points, but you're taking the favorite in your bowl conference pool. I guess the only time you're probably going to do that is when it's like, a two touchdown or like 16, 17 point favorite. All the other times your straight up picks should match like your spread pick. Um,
and it's funny how
but
many times that plays out too, right? Like
yeah,
yeah.
it's more often than not.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
And then the last game here, I mean, it's got it, Cotton Bowl, right? Missouri, Ohio State.
It is.
I think it's all Missouri.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle McCord's gone. A lot of other players are opting out for Ohio State. Missouri is going to want to be here for this game. Like a New Year's Six game with the chance to beat Ohio State. Like, yeah, that Missouri is going to want to play. I'm all over the Tigers for this one. This is similar to like the Arizona Oklahoma matchup, and where you kind of have a team that had a great season and was kind of like ascending against a team didn't quite meet expectations and you have players leaving. So yeah, give me Missouri.
Mizzou. Yeah, I'm with it. Scott Satterfield really brought his team rose his team to the occasion. Like collectively, they rose to the occasion. Like they had a very nice year. Like I've seen some of those games. I could go back to the game where like the fat kicker kicked like a 60-yard field goal to win at the buzzer. That was a great game.
Yeah, Kansas State game. I was
Yeah.
in Vegas for that. That was crazy fun.
Nice. Yeah, it was a fun day. So I mean, even if for no other reason, just because I want to root for them, absolutely. I would definitely of the two, Scott Satterfield over Ryan Day. I mean, if you're talking about their strategy, I'm taking Satterfield every single time in that matchup. Like, there's no
I think
question.
you're confusing Satterfield with
No,
Missouri's coaches.
Eli Drinkwitz. Yeah.
Eli Drinkwitz.
Yeah. Sorry, you're right.
No, it's all good. I know what you meant.
Where's Satterfield now? I totally lost.
Cincinnati.
Oh, thanks. Okay, that's why I'm on the mix up.
Crashing and burning after his first year at Cincinnati.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. But yeah. Drinkwitz had just
the point stands. Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So anyway, Drinkwitz is just big time props for getting his team, because I know he'd been there a while, and this is really the first time I really seen them make the New Year's Six. So
yeah, they've been like 6-6 the last 3 or 4 years he's been there, and they just really took that step up this year. So yeah, props to him.
Yeah, for sure. So that rounds it out, and that's the combo can sometimes be a Sheeran game. I do think this could be a good game, but either way, I think we both lean Missouri. And that brings us to Saturday. We're starting to get into some more New Year's Six action. We've got the Peach Bowl. Honestly, not moving my needle here. Like, I'm not really that enthused about it. Music City Bowl, sorry to say, same scenario. And then the Arizona Bowl. So let me go back. I'm sorry, I should show this first. So the Orange Bowl is really the only game I feel genuinely interested in. The rest of them, I don't know. Like,
I love how they're playing the Barstool Bowl the same time as the Orange Bowl.
On the CW.
Right, on the CW too. I wonder what. Oh, it's hilarious. But let's start with that one.
Okay.
Wyoming is like a hammer play here because Craig Bull's retiring. This is his last game, as his last ride as a Cowboy, as he called it. And Toledo, DeQuan Finn is transferred out from Toledo, so he's not playing. Love Wyoming. You got to play them in this spot. So that'll definitely be higher on the picks. So take Wyoming. We mentioned the whole Georgia Florida State situation. I don't know. I think you have to pick Georgia, but at the same time, like after playing for 2 national championships, do they really want to play in this game against Florida State? Maybe just to kind of show that Florida State shouldn't have been there. I don't know. And obviously Florida State has the motivation, but at the same time, they could say, well, who gives a shit? Like, this game means nothing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rather than go out and, if they really tried and they won, like maybe they could get people to vote for them, number one, like in the AP. But this game is just, I did see the line was like 14. I don't know. This is, I have to think about that one. I agree with you. Penn State, Ole Miss does nothing for me. Like, okay, like it's just kind of there. Franklin's been good in bowls, but their offense hasn't been very good at all.
Yeah.
I guess I would lean Ole Miss, but I don't know. I feel like Penn State's defense could stop their offense. So that's a complete toss-up. And then, Auburn, Maryland. Whew, this is a rough one.
Yeah.
I had no idea. This might be like number 1 on my bowl confidence sheet. Who knows?
I don't blame you. This is, yeah. I mean, honestly, I have no feel.
I mean, when we've seen what Auburn is capable of, because they almost beat Bama. Like Bama needed that miracle to beat them, but then we saw them lose by 3 touchdowns to New Mexico State. So I don't know. And then Maryland plays, they beat on the weak teams in the Big Ten, and they can't beat the top teams. Who knows? I do think both teams are going to want to be at this game, so it should be a competitive game. I just have no idea. I'm interested. What's the spread on that one? Auburn
Oh,
and
the Auburn.
Maryland.
So we have Auburn.
I'm going to guess Auburn minus like 2.
Yes, Auburn minus 2.5.
There we go.
Very good.
Yeah, so it's slight favorite. I don't know. Don't
Yeah.
know.
It makes, I mean, it's very, very well set. Like, you would think that, well, yeah, because they have reputation of Auburn, they just beat Bama, so they'll definitely be favored. But it's very appropriately set. Like, you definitely don't want them favored by more than 2, because it's like, are they really? Because remember, the thing, Auburn's a different team when they're outside of home. So, like, that's the other thing. It's like,
yes, very true. Very true. Yeah, they can't complete a forward pass. I need to look into Maryland's defense.
Yeah.
So if Maryland can like kind of stop the run, I might go with Maryland just because they do still have Talia Tagovailoa. So assuming he's playing again, you need to check like the information because there could be more opt outs and stuff, even that we don't know about yet for some of these games.
And on that note, I think we should really check the opt out situation for the LSU game. So the Real Quest Bowl.
Oh yes,
this could be a good game.
My favorite bowl of the year is this day. I mean, how can you not?
Oh yeah,
be excited to watch Iowa again for one last time. Iowa, Tennessee.
What are you doing? Iowa team total?
You have to bet the under for the game, no
you
matter
have
what.
to. There's no doubt.
Like I was hoping they would play LSU because that would be the one team that's you could say, all right, maybe I'll take like an over 40, maybe. But any other team, no, under. I think I saw the under for this is what, like 38 for Iowa, Tennessee.
Oh, it's gone
there.
It's gone down. It's 36.5.
Oh, still under, no problem. I mean, come on, they hit an under 26.5. Like 36.5 is child play for these guys. Come on.
That's true. It's true. I like it.
No chance.
And on the flip side, you have Liberty and Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. Like if you don't pick an over in that game, I mean.
Oh yeah, over. What's the total? It's like 70.
65.
Oh yeah, over. If Oregon wants to play and wants to try in this game, they should score 55. No problem.
Yeah. And
Liberty is good enough. They can get 20.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Oregon they should win that easy. If they want to show up and play the game, they should be motivated to win and cover if they want to be there. I think I saw Bo Nix is playing. So, looks like they want to play. Dan Lanning seems like the kind of guy to me, like he's like really no nonsense. Like he's not going to let guys just, kind of opt out or like not try,
Mm-hmm.
So definitely Oregon. I still have to take Tennessee. Even, it's going to end probably, 20-3, but you got to take Tennessee. And then Wisconsin, LSU. I mean, is Jaden Daniels playing?
Yeah, that was I was alluding to that. Like, that's going to decide who wins this game to me. Like, is he playing in this game? Like, if he is, then I think LSU is going to win. If he's not, I don't think
Wisconsin was not good this year.
Yeah.
How did they make it to a January 1st bowl? That's how shitty the Big Ten was.
That's a really good question. Like, I certainly didn't get that impression of them winning any kind of division, but I guess that's how bad the division is.
Maybe that's just how they scheduled the bowl.
Yeah,
that's a rough one. So, yep. I know the only two we haven't talked about yet. The
playoff,
college football playoff.
Let's get into it. Okay, so the playoff game number 1, the final regular Rose Bowl before everything changes around and Pac-12 isn't the Pac-12 anymore. And there's no Pac-12 team in it, but I just thought I'd make that point. Michigan versus Alabama. People were pushing for Michigan-Washington to be the game, and I'm like, yeah, that's cute and everything, but it's not the right matchup because Washington,
right.
Yep.
Washington. Agreed. Yeah, they needed to seed it this way. They couldn't reseed just because they wanted a nostalgic Rose Bowl. Like, it wouldn't have been fair.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of unfair, Bama in the game. They shouldn't be in there. This is tough, though, because we were just talking about how bad Michigan's offense is.
Yeah, Bama could win easily.
Yeah, absolutely. Not impressed by
I mean,
either offense.
Michigan has certainly disappointed in this spot the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And as we mentioned, the Big Ten is so bad. Like there was literally three good teams in the Big Ten. If
Yeah.
you want to consider Penn State a good team, I mean, their defense is really good. Like I wouldn't consider their offense good. And so Michigan really hasn't played anybody all year. Um, it's just Bama is very like they're not the same Bama as old, but like they could easily win this game. Like Michigan has no explosiveness to their offense. Their defense is still really good, and they're just going to kind of churn out the ground game and short passes. Like McCarthy is pretty efficient.
Yep.
I don't want to root for Alabama. That's the thing. Like now, see, like now, like my bias is just like clouding my judgment.
I get it.
I don't, like I don't want them to be vindicated that they made it.
Yeah.
But like I feel like they easily could beat Michigan.
The hardest thing for me to do with that game is pick a straight up winner. Like,
Right.
I also don't want to root for Michigan because they've, like you said, they've let us down a lot. And
They shit the bed in this position many times.
last year was the worst example of that because it's like there's just nothing on there, nothing in that matchup that said they were going to lose to TCU. I think it was TCU. Yeah.
Yep.
That was a choke. I mean, do we say choke? Is that strong?
Yeah, it was.
It was a
It
choke.
definitely was.
Yeah. I mean, just very, really, really horrific play by the quarterback in that game. Wasn't that McCarthy too? Was it the same year? Was that the same guy?
Yeah, he was still playing.
Yeah.
Yep. Pick sixes. I mean, it was a complete meltdown.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I mean, you're gonna have to put, and one thing I would say is that you're probably gonna have to put big confidence points in this game because by the time we get there, you're gonna have people with like oodles of confidence points anyway.
You don't have. I mean, my feeling on it is like I always save a big one for the national championship game, just because at that point, like it's either win or go home. So
Yeah.
I save a big one for that one. But you don't have to put a big one on the playoff games. I mean, if you feel really strongly about games earlier in the bowl schedule, go with those ahead of these, and let other people like hang themselves on like a pick'em game. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of my feeling on it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know the point spread is going to be pretty large for. I think it's Michigan. I'm going to assume it's like a 9-point spread, but
Oh no, gosh, no! I think I saw it was like Michigan -2.
oh, -2.
Last
Okay, that sounds right. Yeah, I was just judging by what I thought the public was going to do, but that sounds right. Yeah, let me check that, confirm that for everybody. Where is that sheet? Oh, here it is. Yes, they are. Gonna go take a look at this right now. Yeah, I even see Pick'em on one site. Wow. So
Okay, so it went down a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah, true toss up. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, if we're gonna go on record, I'll just say Michigan, just because I don't want to root for Alabama. So, but
yeah,
not confident at all in that pick.
yeah. I don't think anyone would be. What either side, whatever side they take, they're not going to feel
Yeah,
confident.
exactly.
Yeah.
I would say under 2 for this game.
Yeah, under feels right. Under feels right. I mean, Bama's been an under team all year, and Michigan also has been an under team all year. So it's like, that just makes sense.
Michigan's defense has allowed barely anything all year.
Over under is 45. Yeah, I like that. I would go with it.
Yeah,
I go with it.
like 23-20.
Yep.
Somebody.
Yeah, I'm with that. I mean, sometimes bowl games will bring out offense, but no, I don't. The way these guys are constructed.
Yeah, I don't see the explosive plays happening here. It's gonna be like a grind it out kind of game.
Yeah, I feel the same. So we go to the Sugar Bowl. This is probably normally the Sugar Bowl is just kind of the bowl that's like, yeah, we got to deal with the Sugar Bowl.
Right.
This year's different. This is a great matchup.
Yeah, this is electric. Yeah, these two teams played in the Alamo Bowl last year, and Washington won. So if you're going by that, I mean, I kind of like Washington again. Like, what hasn't this team proved all year? Like, they've been underdogs numerous times. Penix and that group of receivers is just terrific. And that's the one weakness in the Texas defense. Like, Texas can really stop the run, but they're shaky against the pass. Well, guess what? Washington's one of the best passing offenses in the country. Yeah, I know Texas is really talented themselves, but I just think the Pac-12 was the best conference in the country, top to bottom, and to come through that gauntlet, I like Washington here. So I know they're getting like what 4 points, 4.5 points. I think they're going to again. I think it's going to be the same result as the Alamo Bowl last year. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Washington has the matchup. I'll take them here to win the game.
I gotta double check and see who was favored. Did you catch who was favored in that game?
I want to say Texas was like I think Texas I saw was like -4.5 when I
Okay.
first saw it.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that I corroborate that. Just saw it here on action. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm on your side too. I take Washington. They have been battle tested. I
yep,
think what you saw, because they look pretty feeble at certain points of the season, but what you saw was what they looked like
right,
when they got guys out.
yep.
Everybody's at full strength this time around. That team is
Yeah,
really
they had some head scratching games. I mean, they almost
yeah.
lost to Stanford. They had another game that was we mentioned the Arizona game. That ended up being a pretty that was a great win by the end of it. Um, but yeah, just I think DeBauer is just a fantastic coach, and you saw it in the Pac-12 title game. Like they schemed it up perfectly to start the game, and it just they were in control almost the whole time. So yeah, give me him over Sark, Penix over Quinn Ewers, and yeah, give me the Huskies here.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun game. I do hope they win. I think that'd be great. Last stand for technically Texas too, because they're gonna leave the Big 12. But um, yeah, that's gonna be great. So I'm with you. I'm with you. Feels like the sharp play too, even though yeah, I mean it should because they're the underdog, but it does feel very sharp, and that's a good thing for all of us. So that's it for the bowl preview. We will, as far as we picked our winners of that round, like who do you think is going to win the national title from that point?
I mean, I said Michigan and Washington, right? So I'll just stick with Washington.
That'd be remarkable. I emotionally I can't bring myself there, but I think I have to pick it because I do think that that's the team. If I think they can beat Texas, I definitely think they can beat Bama.
Oh yeah, right. It would be fitting for the Pac-12 to end on a national championship.
Well, listen, it was called the Conference of Championships for a lot of years,
That's
right?
right, exactly.
Why not end on
So
that?
hey, if Washington wins the CFP, then like put some money down on Arizona to win the
Oh,
men's basketball tournament. The Pac-12 can end with both championships and just right off into the sunset,
that would be amazing.
wouldn't it?
I want that. Yeah, that'd be so good. That's great, John. Thank you so much for breaking this all down tonight. Like that was really
Yeah, it was fun. I didn't think we were going to get through every game, but yeah, that was good. We got we did a little quick hit on every single bowl game from the best to the worst. So
yeah. I
I
mean,
honestly can't wait for the season to start. Even though like some of these are really messed up with all these like players transferring and opting out and coaching changes, nothing beats bowl season. Like slap the Pop Tarts bowl on the TV, and I am there.
I'm,
Even that quick lane bowl, like I said, day after Christmas. What else are you gonna do besides sit there and gamble on the quick lane bowl? Like not, I mean, come on.
yeah. It's gonna be fun. I know everybody keeps bagging on it, like, oh my god, these games don't mean anything, and it's just like, fine, but it's content. Like we know it's
Yeah,
content.
exactly.
It's good
Right.
content.
We know what it is. We accept it for what it is, and we have a lot of fun with it. I mean,
Oh yes.
the interesting thing will be next year what happens to some of these bowls with the 12-team playoff,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously that's going to be uh six less. I know they're doing the quarterfinals in the bowls, but the first round is on campus sites, obviously.
Yeah.
So you're going to have like four less bowl games. So we'll see what happens with the schedule
I
next
think it's a
year.
good thing. I think it's a good thing. I think that works out fine. Like,
Yeah, I think it's fine. Like you'll get your lower teams still into bowl
yeah.
games, and I wonder if we'll have like all the playoff games will be like part of quote bowl mania. So we'll see how that goes too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna be a fun time next year. It's just that I really wish they could have done this with the Pac-12 still intact. That's just what bothers me about it. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But hey, like we said, they can go out with a bang this
yeah,
year.
for sure, for sure. Um, do you want to hang out and talk a little bit about basketball and other stuff, or is it about time for you?
Yeah, let's put that stuff on hold for another episode. We could do like NFL and like
Okay.
other basketball and stuff, and maybe like recap some of the bowl games as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
I would say, let's call it an evening. We did a lot of
we
did a
did.
lot of content with these bowl games.
Absolutely. John, thank you. It's been a blast. I do want to wish you best of luck in this forthcoming pool. And I don't know if you made the playoffs in your NFL pool, but if you did,
I did not,
okay.
unfortunately. I had a lot of points, but unfortunately the matchups did not go my way some weeks. I picked the wrong lock a couple weeks, and the other person had the right one, and that's just how it goes.
I
But
gotcha.
hey, I was happy with my own picks, so that's really all you can do, and the rest is
Yeah.
up to chance.
That's why I'm glad you keep track of the points, because it just gives you
Yeah.
are you still picking the games well? Well, yeah, definitely. Like, I think a lot of us
Yeah,
were.
exactly.
I think I still have more points than entire divisions.
Yeah. Yeah. I was joking to my buddy, like, yeah, I think I know how to have to rig the divisions next year, even though it's completely random, but I was just joking. Like, I know who I want in mind going forward. Yeah.
It was a fun time. Well,
Yep.
yeah, thanks. So, yeah, let's try to do one more next week. I mean, we could stick with Wednesday or Tuesday, whatever day you want to do
Yeah,
it.
whatever. Hopefully we can get Andy in the mix. I'd
Mhm.
like to hear his rants on the Bulls and various things. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
we'll have to coordinate something.
Well, he's gonna be on fire with the live stuff. My gosh, like
Oh
he's
my goodness, yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
yeah,
Oh my
I
gosh,
know.
yeah.
Like called it left and
What
right.
is the PGA Tour doing?
I
Like,
know.
get your head out of your ass. Like, you're losing players left and right. Like Jon Rahm, like, oh, brutal.
That was
Yeah, I can't wait
yeah,
until it's
yeah.
like
That's
you know
rough. Like
Garrett
again,
Cole and like Chris Kirk battling every Sunday for tournaments on the PGA Tour. It's gonna be brutal.
yeah. I mean, again, we'll cover that. We'll cover that
Yeah.
on next week. But
Yep.
it's a whole story. Like you said, it deserves its whole podcast. Like really, we would have like 3 hours of content. Like
Yes.
so much to talk about. But man, John, thank you again. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the massive Saturday and the rest of the football weekend as well.
Yeah, you too, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
Gotcha.
See you.
Bye, John. Thanks. That's John in Connecticut. Good times. Good stuff. It was a fun time. Like, always good to chat with our good friend John. John really brought it. Like, again, like really good analysis. And, sometimes it's important to chat with like your buddies about these things, because sometimes you learn angles with a game that you didn't really see beforehand. And John definitely presented a few of those tonight. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. If you missed any part of it, we're going to have the replay right here on YouTube. If you're watching the stream live, if you are tuning in via the podcast, you can also watch a video replay of this podcast over on our Sandwich Show YouTube page. Just look for Davey's Eating a Sandwich on YouTube and locate the Sandwich Corner series. It's a separate playlist that logs all of our audio podcast shows, which this is. Over on Twitch, Davey's Eating a Sandwich on Twitch. We will be back on Friday for sure. It's a possibility that, well, you won't, by the time you hear this, you're not gonna catch us, but I might jump in for some golf with your friends, impromptu, late Wednesday night if you're watching this live. But if you're listening to it the next day, our next show on Twitch will be the Christmas karaoke show Friday night. So don't miss that. And then a lot of great interviews coming up in the next couple weeks too. So that's all for here. Thank you so much for hanging out. Do enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.